So our next department that we'll be presenting is from our Parks and Recreation Department. The Rocky Mount Parks and Recreation Department's mission is to advance the quality of life by providing positive, inclusive experience through people, parks, and programs. So our presenter for Parks and Rec will be Kelvin Yarl.
Thank you, Candace, and good morning to everybody. My name is Kelvin Yarl. I'm the Superintendent of Parks and Cemetery with the City of Rocky Mount Parks and Recreation Department. And primarily our contracts for our parks and our cemetery deal with areas focusing on landscaping and small construction and building projects. Today, we'll focus mainly on our landscaping and ground maintenance contracts. And most people may not know that the facilities that Parks and Rec assist with the landscaping and maintenance is City Hall, Event Center, Imperial Center, Bus Station, Train Station, Judicial Center, and many others throughout the city. The types of parks that we contract out include Holly Street Park, Veterans Memorial, City Lake, and several others throughout Nash and Edgecombe counties. Others may not realize we also have lakes, such as City Lake, Tar River Reservoir, and Saponi Creek that we also maintain and do contract work. We do require a lot of licenses as it relates to our landscaping contracts through the Parks and Rec Department. And some of the primary licenses that we require include pesticide license, especially the commercial grounds applicator. The North Carolina Pesticide Law of 1971 requires licensing for individuals applying any pesticide for compensation. The applicator is required to pass a certification exam appropriate to the area in which the applicator wishes to work. As it relates to the Parks and Rec Department, this helps us to safeguard and ensure the proper use of applications of all pesticides. The requirement also helps us maintain high professional standards for all contracted pesticide application projects that we take on. Next slide, please. Other licenses types that we also require are aquatic pesticide license. For pesticide applicators, personally applying pesticide to standing or running water, such as ponds, lakes, and streams. And this is especially important for us as it relates to the management of City Lake, the Tar River Reservoir, if we're spraying along the edges of the bank, as well as Saponi Creek. The major one that we require when it comes to the big landscaping contracts include our North Carolina Landscape Contractors License. This helps the Parks Department to safeguard life, health, and property. The requirements also helps us maintain a high standard as it relates to landscaping projects. Chapter 89D is a statute which regulates landscape contract in North Carolina. And we like for all of our landscape contractors that apply for our contracts or our bids to make sure that they are certified and up to date as it relates to this licensing. Irrigation as well. We require them to make sure that they are protecting the health and safety and welfare to promote the efficient use of water as it relates to all the irrigation projects that we have. Next slide, please. A lot of the contractors ask what type of equipment. When it comes to our landscaping, we want to generally have those zero-turn rear discharge mowers. We ask for rear discharge so that as you're cutting along the streets, it's not blowing or hitting cars. It's actually discharging from the back. A lot of bush hogging goes on in a lot of parks, flex mowers, spreaders, tractors, weed eaters, edgers, and also boom sprayers. We do a lot of requirements for our pesticide applications, and having those boom sprayers is very important for those wide areas. Sometimes you may need backpack sprayers, chainsaws, and of course pruning equipment for trees, bushes, and shrubbery. Experience and expectations. Our contractors, we want them to have sufficient skills in planning, landscaping design, irrigation planning, and hardware use. So having that past experience in designing landscape plans for parks in specific areas. Knowledge of safety measures and aesthetic approach. As you look at City Hall as a prime example, our goal is to have it the best City Hall landscape in the country. And with that standard, we want to make sure that our flowers, our plantings, our mulch, our high level, our edging, and all those things as well. And also the experience working with municipal or public buildings. There is a higher level of service expected at those public facilities as people encounter them on a daily basis. So we want to make sure our landscape contractor has some experience or has some background in municipal or public buildings. Other contracts that we do um, in our Parks and Rec department include bathroom cleaning. So we have outdoor restrooms that we have throughout our system, and we want to make sure that they stay at a high level. So we want someone to come in with sufficient skills in public restroom cleaning, sanitation, and also the OSHA requirements as it relates to those contracted services. We have thousands of trees in our inventory. So tree removal is also a major contract that we use each year, and we want to make sure that the tree removal company has North Carolina landscape background, contractor's background, has contractor license to take down trees, and also the proper insurance, just in case things happen. Next slide, please. Commonly asked questions is how many properties does Parks and Rec bid each year and when? Generally, we have between 25 and 30 properties that we have up for bid. Our bidding process is done in a 3-year cycle. This past March and April, we worked with our purchasing department to rebid all of our landscaping contracts. So those are in the process of being finalized as well right now. Next, in 3 years from now, that February, March time, we'll work again with our purchasing department to get it out. One of the things we do a little bit maybe different than some other departments is we actually do some research and put together what we call a mailing list of who we believe are qualified applicants and vendors that we can send the bid process to. We go through the North Carolina Landscape Contractors mailing list. We go through the North Carolina Pesticide Applicators mailing list and trying to put those together so that we make sure we get a good return on our bids. Are there other contract opportunities with the community centers? Yes, our community centers also have contracts that are dealing with the inside of the facility, specifically dealing with the cleaning process. That's done under the building and ground department, property management, but we do have inside contracts as well. Where can I obtain the licenses that are required? The North Carolina Landscape Contractors information can be found online, as well as the North Carolina Pesticide and tree removal and contractor services can be found online at North Carolina Landscape Contractors website.